This is the insane story of how I turned less than $3,000 into over $3 million in just 2 weeks. And hold on to your hats because this one is wild. So about a month ago, I was browsing on Twitter when I came across a post from the CEO of Polygon. He was sharing a new project built on Polygon called Win Markets. At first glance, I could tell it was really similar to Pump.Fun, which is a really popular app on Solana. It's basically like a marketplace where people can launch meme coins, but they launch them safe. Here's how Pump.Fun would describe it. Pump prevents rugs by making sure all created tokens are safe. Each coin on Pump is a fair launch with no presale and no team allocation. This has been a mega hit. Like Pump.Fun alone is doing more in profit than the vast majority of blockchains are. When I clicked over to the site, it was sort of similar to Pump.Fun. It was definitely its kind of like own unique vision, but I could tell the concept was the same. And there was just a handful of different meme coins listed on the site. If you don't know how these work, literally anyone could come and list one of these meme coins. It's like your mom could go into Pump.Fun or go into Win Markets. They could create their own meme coin, give it a name, upload a picture, and voila, the meme coin is created. Now, I almost never invest into meme coins. It's just not my thing. I don't really like to gamble. I want some sort of fundamentals or some sort of thing or reason why I'm investing in something that makes me believe in the future that thing will have more value. Where meme coins are just kind of like sort of guessing. You're just like throwing your money out there. You're like, oh, that's a funny meme. I hope it takes off. I hope it make money. And I don't really like to invest like that because I feel like I just lose all my money. But despite me not normally investing in meme coins, when I went to Win Markets, there was a specific meme coin that really stood out to me called Goon. For context, the Polygon community calls themselves Polygoons, or Goons for short. And even though it's kind of ridiculous, this is kind of a normal thing in crypto. Like Solana's community is called the Mantlets. The Link community is called the Link Marines. So everyone kind of has like their silly name for their community. Anyway, I knew that the Polygon community called themselves Goons, and I knew that the Polygon ecosystem didn't have any sort of major meme coin. Ethereum has Doge and Pepe. Solana has Whiff and Bonk. Even Avalanche has their rooster-themed meme coin, which is Cock. But Polygon, despite many repeated attempts, has yet to produce like a clear meme coin leader on, within the Polygon ecosystem. Now, it's my belief that this cycle, Polygon is going to be huge. I've interviewed Mark, the CEO of Polygon. I've interviewed Sandeep. I've interviewed Brendan, one of the co-founders of Polygon. Most people have been really just not paying attention to what Polygon's been building and growing in the background, but their ZK tech is literally insane. They spent almost $1 billion acquiring the best ZK talent in the space a couple years back. They built something called the AFFLIATE using ZK tech, which fixes one of the biggest problems that's plaguing L2s right now. Instead of having all these separate L2s, it unifies them all together into basically an internet of chains. It allows users to move between L2s like they're moving between web pages. And this has me insane bullish on Polygon because the more liquidity there is in an ecosystem, or in the less friction there is between that liquidity moving around, the more the tokens in that ecosystem can go up or go higher. And with the AFFLIATE, every single chain that joins the AFFLIATE basically contributes to this giant shared ocean of liquidity. They already have Astar, Immutable, Ronin, OKX's XLayer, and more joining the AFFLIATE. And consider OKX has over 50 million users on their exchange, and XLayer is essentially Asia's version of Base. And my thought was any meme coin that became dominant on Polygon has the potential to not just be like the Polygon meme coin, but the meme coin for the wider AFFLIATE ecosystem. That's a lot of liquidity and a lot of shared users to tap into, which means that this ecosystem, if it works out the way that I'm believing, could have some like mega meme coins within it. Now, meme coins tend to go up after like big wealth generation events. So for example, with Solana, after Sol skyrocketed in price, we then saw a massive rotation into meme coins. My opinion is we should have seen like a huge alt season before this. It's just Solana doesn't have like a ton of different alts to speculate on. Now the ecosystem's starting to mature a lot more, but back then when this happened, there just wasn't a ton of different like good projects to invest into or buy on Solana at the time. So the market essentially just skipped all that and went straight to meme coins. All of this was going through my head, and my belief was that if we do see the price of Matic go quite a bit higher due to all the things I'm talking about, due to the fact that Matic's turning into Pol and all of that, we should see some sort of alt season on Polygon followed by a meme coin season later in the cycle. By the way, I'm explaining my thoughts here, what was going through my head, but none of this is investment advice. This is just what was happening in my brain as all of this was going on. Okay, so Polygon doesn't have any sort of major meme coin. I'm thinking Polygon's gonna do really well later in this cycle, and the Polygon community already calls themselves Goons. To me, all of that put together seemed like a solid enough thesis as to why Goon had some sort of potential to maybe do well. In my head, I was thinking maybe this could be something like Polygon's bonk sort of play. You know, bonk was kind of early on as the Sol started to appreciate, and it kind of fit that same role. Bonk and Goon almost sound kind of similar. I don't know. In my head, all this made sense, and it's like, you know what? This is some sort of fundamentals, and I'm willing to like put a tiny bit of capital up and just see what happens. Now, I only took a small amount of money and invested it into Goon. For me, it was less than 0.3% of my portfolio. I consider all meme coins, including this meme coin, a high risk play where I could potentially lose all of my money. So I wasn't willing to put like massive amounts of capital into this thing. I was just thinking, hey, if this works out, maybe I'll make a lot of money. If it doesn't, I will live if I lose this money. However, nothing could quite prepare me for what happened next. Within a few hours, Win had gained enough momentum and attention that it graduated from Win Markets. If you don't know what that means, basically when it's on Win Markets, it can only be traded through Win Markets. Once it graduates, its liquidity gets deployed and locked on an actual DEX, and then it can like grow within the wider crypto ecosystem. And all of these tokens that launch from Pump.Fund, they launch from Win Markets, they're 100% community owned. There is no like initial team allocations, and nobody can rug the liquidity because it gets locked from day one. Nobody has control of it. It's just like sitting there for the community to use as a part of trading the meme coin. And as this was happening, my initial almost $3,000 investment kept climbing in value. First, it went to $6,000, then $10,000, then $20,000, then $50,000 from a $3,000 initial investment. It was honestly mind-blowing how fast this thing was growing. I'd never experienced anything like it in crypto before. Now, as a part of the Obsidian Council, one of the things I do is I transparently share anytime I buy or sell something. It's meant to be like a Pinterest board where people can go, they can see what I'm buying, what I'm looking at, what I'm interested in, then they can go do their own research and figure out if that's something that they're interested in. Obviously, when I posted this one, I included a massive, big fat warning saying, hey, if you decide to put money in this, you will probably lose all your money. Please be extremely careful. But despite that, a lot of other Obsidian Council members decided to jump in as well. And they were also starting to see their accounts just skyrocket to these absurdly high levels. And as this was all happening, sort of like this whole mini ecosystem started to pop up. One of the holders decided, hey, I'm going to create a Telegram so that all the different holders could talk together. And another holder's like, hey, I design websites. I'm going to create a website so that we could like showcase Goon. And then another holder decided to create a Twitter so that Goon could have a social media presence. Again, if you don't understand how meme coins work, a lot of the biggest meme coins like Doge, they're all community run. Like there is no team necessarily behind them. They're just community members who are like doing all these things. Now, pretty early on, people started to notice that there was this single whale who owned a huge chunk of the Goon supply. And a lot of holders started speculating that whoever this whale was going to take all of their Goon and dump on all of us, crashing the price. And we were actually in a lot of danger because of this. And everyone was scrambling and speculating, trying to figure out who this whale was and what their intentions were with Goon. And I also wanted to know who this whale was, so I went and checked the holders chart. And I was shocked to see that the whale that everyone was talking about was me. I had bought Goon so cheap and so early that my small under $3,000 buy had meant that I had bought up like a vast chunk of the supply of Goon. And I was by far the single biggest holder of Goon. And since people were really kind of freaking out about it, I made the choice to dox myself and say that I was the whale and that I, wasn't going to dump all of my tokens on everyone. And I promised not to sell any of my tokens until Goon hit at least $5 million in market cap. At the time, thinking that that would take a while to do because, I don't know. I was just thinking that would take quite a bit for that to happen. The price, however, just kept climbing. Soon, my less than $3,000 investment was worth $100,000, then $200,000. And by the 1 week mark, so 1 week after I bought this token, my less than $3,000 investment was worth over $1 million. I had never experienced anything like this in crypto before. But the price didn't stop there. It literally just kept climbing. And the higher the price went, and the more and more my holdings like grew, the more people kept getting concerned that I had like this massive chunk of the supply of this meme coin. And I was kind of trying to figure out like how to deal with this too. Like I didn't know what to do. I could sell a huge chunk of my supply, but then just crash the price and everyone would hate me. I could just hold it forever and say, hey, I'm not going to sell it. But then there'd be just kind of like endless FUD where people were like, he's going to dump on you. Eventually he's going to sell it. And they would literally talk about that probably forever as the price continued to climb. In the end, I decided that really the only choice that I had was to give away a huge chunk of my holdings. The basic idea was that I would lock a chunk of those funds into a multi-sig with different signers from the community. If or when Goon ever reached 1 billion market cap, those funds would get permanently burned and removed from supply. And the community seemed to really like this idea. And all the while, price just kept climbing. And by the end of week 2, my less than $3,000 investment had turned into over $3 million. Now, it's important to note that even though my account says I have $3 million, in reality, I don't have $3 million. If I were to actually go try to sell that $3 million worth of supply, it would massively crash the price, and I'd only get a small fraction of that amount. Even still, it felt ridiculously insane to me. I mean, obviously, how could it not? It was around this time that I finally sent my funds to the 1 billion or death fund, and it was around $900,000 worth of my own holdings that I sent to this fund. This fund that would eventually burn those holdings, meaning that money would be gone forever. And I'm not gonna lie, giving up $900,000, even if it was just paper money, did make my stomach turn. Like when I had to actually send that over and I was like, I'm really doing this. Seeing that number on the screen and having to send it over did make my stomach turn, because that's a life-changing amount of money for me. Like that is a lot of money. It hurt, but I really felt like I didn't have many other options as far as what I could do. A few days after this, the entire market dumped hard. Like the altcoins just started bleeding like crazy. Bitcoin and ETH went down, and Goon held strong for a couple days. Actually, for a couple days, it was doing really good. And I was like, wow, this is insane. Everything else is going down. Goon's still holding, but eventually it did break, and it went from 9 million in market cap all the way down to 1 million in market cap. And today it sits around 3 million in market cap. Overall, it was a pretty crazy journey and definitely one of the funnest things that's ever happened to me in the crypto space. My less than $3,000 today is worth a little over 700,000, which is obviously still incredible. And I'm currently planning to hold for the long term and see if my original thesis ends up playing out. If Pol really does skyrocket once Matic transitions to Pol, and we eventually see this like mega rotation into meme coins that I expect to happen later in the cycle. If that happens, I'll hit the jackpot and I should do pretty well. I did want to shout out that members of the Obsidian Council were able to get in at $5,000 in market cap, and from bottom to top, that was 179,000% gain, turning every $100 invested into over $170,000. Even today with that big pullback, they're sitting up 59,000%, or a 600x gain, turning every $100 invested into $60,000. And today I just opened back up the OC for new signups, but I'm only accepting the first 50 people that sign up. There's a link in the description of this video if you want to sign up. If you're watching this later and it's already closed, you can join the waitlist and hopefully sign up next time. Now, obviously, some of you guys might be tempted to jump into this meme coin based on this video. I want to heavily emphasize that this is just me telling a crazy story about what happened to me, not any sort of investment advice. Meme coins like this are what I call risk level Rambo. Like I have a scale of 1 to 10 where like 1 is the least risky, 10 is the most risky possible. And when something exceeds 10, I call it risk level Rambo. That project literally has to be Rambo. It has to be the one that defies all odds to actually succeed. And that's just extremely unlikely. The vast majority of these do not work out. If you do decide to invest based on your own research and your own like decision-making process, you should definitely not invest more than you're willing to lose, or that more than you could afford to lose. And just remember, this is a meme coin. It's fun. It's lighthearted. It's like a community. It's not a serious investment. And I only put myself less than 0.3% of my portfolio into it initially. My current thesis on this one is that I'm hoping we really do see a Polygon season, that Goon is able to sit in the top 3 meme coins on Polygon, and we see capital rotate into it later in the cycle, when I expect, that hopefully we have this mega meme coin rotation after alt season, and that sort of like what's happened on Solana so far is more of a foreshadowing of what's to come when retail shows up. I can't predict the future though. Obviously, this is meant to be a fun journey for you to follow along, and none of this is investment advice. I wouldn't say that literally over and over again if I really didn't mean it. Like, none of this is, please don't invest based on this video. As always, if this video is helpful, make sure to hit that like button. If you have any questions, comments, or maybe any other tokens or meme coins I should be checking out, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell next to it to be notified each time I release a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.